This is the Deck Network, and I'm your host, Mike Danzilio, and we have
co-host to the stars, Matt Dalton, here on another riveting episode of the Deck Network. I got to tell you, man, we got a great show for you lined up today.
Okay, today's episode is on a new product, which I think is the best new product for decks I've seen in the last few years, and that is Trex Elevations Steel Framing.
Wow. You're putting it out there, one of the better products you've seen in recent years.
Well, you know, the things aren't going to always change. The things aren't going to be revolutionary in this business. So
but to get an endorsement like that from the Deck Network, it means something.
This is something that's not out there, and I think the best way is to get right in. When I was, last week I was in Las Vegas.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a reporter, and sometimes we get
you
nice
go where the stories are. That's what I like about this.
So last week I was in Las Vegas, and I interviewed the Doug Lind from the Trex Company. Let's take a look. Hi, right now we're with a friend of mine, Doug Lind from the Trex Company.
How you doing?
Doug is the inventor, innovator of one of my favorite new products, and that's the Trex Elevation metal framing.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got to be right now? I understand you were a contractor for a little while.
I was a contractor for many years. So as this kind of evolved, we got to the point where we're putting all this gorgeous decking all over the top of these decks. They're beautiful, okay? And the looks of them, the colors of them, but there's one inherent thing that goes wrong with any composite decking, any brand. It follows the substructure. Mm-hmm. So what's happening out on our decks that we're building for these people, these gorgeous decks, is after a couple months, we look at it and we look across and it waves. It's not the decking's fault. The decking didn't do anything wrong. What happened was the frame moved. So we've got the frame doing what the frame does. The frame moves, it shrinks, it swells a little bit, it gets a crown, it does this. That's just natural. The decking will always follow it. So we wanted something to take away from that. We wanted to say, what can we put in there that doesn't move? And that's when we came up with steel framing. We were able to actually come up with the framing. It gives you a straight, it looks like a table going across your deck. Mm-hmm. Then it looks like a straight decking all the time, and then you'll also get the longevity. So I killed two birds with one stone.
Yes, well, it's I have it at the Deck Network studio.
Awesome. That's
and
great.
I think it is, again, one of the best new product out there for decks. And for many years it was a tough sell to get people away from wood decking and railing.
Right.
And now that that's pretty much mainstream, now we're focusing on the weak link in the whole chain, and that's the frame. Because no matter how beautiful your deck is, if the frame has little ups and downs in it, and it's going to do that, and I'm a proponent of the best wood, the number one wood from the best miller you can find, in 2 or 3 years, you're going to see some of these things. And the connections with expansion and contraction and all the heat temperature variations, it's going to make these connections weaker over time.
It does.
And the metal is just definitely going to do that. We have a little bit of design flexibility also. You got longer spans on them.
Yep.
And you can do, with the beams, you can have less posts, so and less footings, because we all know you have to have footings on this. And as you've seen some of the Deck Network videos over time, putting posts or the footings in is not an easy project.
The footings are work, and that's the hard part of the
footings are a lot of work.
Right, so let's eliminate a couple of those. Let's look at our designs. Let's open up that cantilever, come out the front of it, okay? Widen our posts so we can get better views from underneath the deck. Let's have some options out there. We've had great decking, we've had great colors, we've had great railing for a lot of years.
Yeah.
We've never worked on the substructure.
Well, now we are.
There's a substructure out.
All right, Doug, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Again,
Mike.
I love your product.
Thank you.
Good guy right there, Doug. Full energy, got a great product.
Yeah, so I love the stuff. It's something that is needed. Now, over time, the connections, nails, joist hangers, with expansion and contraction, the temperature fluctuations, it's going to make the connections weaker over time. So this is what we have. Now let's take a look at some of the parts. There's only 3 parts. This is the joist. It's obviously like this. It's 18 gauge cold rolled galvanized steel with a ceramic coating on it. This is what they call the track 14 gauge steel. This will go up against the house and around the perimeter of the deck. So when
For a cantilever? Or?
well, okay, cantilevers are very good with this product. Now, when you run your last joist, remember we always want to have doubles on our decks. You just cover your joist with this part there, and you had a real strong.
That's going nowhere.
Yeah, that's really strong. We always want to have a good strong deck, and that's going to do it. Now we have this beam part. If you this one here. Again, it's the 14 gauge, cold rolled, galvanized steel with a ceramic coating. This is strong. You can go, this part here, you can go 12 feet, a span of 12 feet with one of these. You can go even further if you double that up. And I just like the product. Use, of course, our friends at Simpson have all the different hardwares and
great guys over at Simpson.
This product here, this L70Z, and you have the screws that, again, these are all engineered screws, so they're not going to have to shear off. It'll go in there, go right through the steel. Works great. The system works great. We have, as mentioned to Doug, we have the deck at the Deck Network studio is this is it right here.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it has a nice curve on it, and it's got, of course, we had to put all the different blocking in because we have a triple border around the outside.
You had to go a little bit high end on this.
Well,
thing,
we always do that.
Come on. You think they're cutting corners over here at the Deck Network? I don't think so.
That's the front elevation look at that. And here's another. It looks similar to the deck I have.
Similar to curving with traditional wood, or is it?
It actually is a little easier because you just have to cut. This is the track, and you just, if you want to make a bend on it, you just put cuts in here, and it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And it becomes very flexible. Now, as Doug said, now from underneath, it gives a beautiful deck from underneath. Now, when you have a second floor deck, I've been saying this for years. You don't want your deck just to look good from above. You want your deck to look good from underneath. So this is what it looks like from underneath, and they have a spray that they want. It's spray paint, the ceramic paint, the same that they use for the ceramic coating on it anyway.
Oh, so it's all kind of uniform?
Yes, so
I like that. It's got a very industrial look to it.
It's cleaner. Yeah. It looks better than the green wood. It just looks better. And in this photo here, as Doug was saying, you see the top one, traditional wood framing? It has undulations like a putting green.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, see this joist here is taller. It has a larger crown in it. The next one may be perfectly straight, so it looks like it dips and goes down. So they have a video on the Trex website that this marble is going up and down. Then, of course, on the Trex Elevation is, as Doug says, it's like a flat tabletop. The stuff is really nice.
This all sounds great, Mike. What about from a price point? Is it much more than traditional? Or
I'm glad you asked that question there, Matt.
Thank you.
Now, so what I did, and this is what I do, is I drew a couple of designs. Find them here. Now, this would be a deck that would be 16 foot out and 24 foot long.
So decent sized deck.
Decent sized deck. We could use 2x8s. 16 inches on the center, the beam across the center, our joist span is 8 feet. Now we also want to remember that in 2013, this year, the treated wood is being downgraded in strengths.
Okay.
You got to cut about 2 feet off of that because the trees, they're faster growing, they're not as strong. Huh. They cut them down, they grow them, they reseed them, they grow again, and they're certainly not as strong.
This mass production is cutting into the quality.
The strength isn't. So this is a good design for a 16 by 24 treated frame. We have 8 footings here. So I figured the cost on the just that frame to be at $1,070, and it's 384 square feet. It comes to $2.78 a square foot just for the frame and the footings.
Okay.
Now, you remember you have 8 footings there. So then I designed the deck using the Trex steel framing. The same footprint. It's 16 by 24. But we only have 3 footings here.
A lot less digging there.
Again, it's stronger, and you can go out 4 feet on a cantilever as opposed to 2 feet that you can do with regular wood.
Look at that.
So you can get a 16 by 24 with only 3 footings.
How much per square on that?
Now the cost per square foot came to $5.88 per square foot. It's minimal.
Less work.
Less footings.
Yeah.
Remember, you know, footings.
And
footings are a big. Anything you can do to save some time on the footings.
And savings down the road, not having to replace if it's going to start to bow on you.
Well, yes, you're going to have this flat deck is going to be like that for the duration of the life of the deck. It's going to
for as long as you want it.
It's going to last longer. They have. It's just a great product. I love it. Any comments on it?
I think it's a steal, no pun intended. I think if you can get in there and get this applied to where you're doing your job, it's gonna just save you over the course of time.
I've been talking to a few decking contractors that they introduced this as an option, and the reason why they had to is that, you know, Doug especially, he said that in his contracts he would say there is no warranty on the frame not going up or down.
Okay.
So people don't really like that. Well, one guarantee about the wood is it's going to go up and down. As it dries, this southern yellow pine, very hard, very heavy, but they couldn't find a use for it. They built ships with it for a while, then of course steel ships came along. Again, steel framing is going to take the place of the wood framing.
Just as
it's just a better look, it's stronger, less footings, more design flexibility. The joist lengths are longer. There's so much more that you can do.
Do you think this is going to be an industry standard in years to come?
I think that you will see most of the decks will be done like this. If you're going to buy a deck and you only want to do it once, and you know you're going to be in that house for 20 years, this deck's going to be there for the duration of that job. We are being told these frames on these treated wood, they're not going to go. I mean, 15 years may be the total lifetime of some of these decks, but if you would put a lifetime or a 25-year warranted decking on a frame, especially people come into my office all the time and say, "Oh, I have a 20-year-old deck. I just want to strip the decking off and put some new decking on."
Against that?
Well, I don't tell people what to do, you know, because I just want to help people. But we say to ourselves that you
kind of cringe a little bit on the inside, probably.
This frame isn't going to last, and
they're going to put this beautiful decking down on top of it, and it's not going to be structurally right.
In 5 years or 10 years, something may fail, and so that's what we're trying to do. I love the stuff. It's a great new product. If you want to go to the Trex website and look at some videos, you can also see these videos.
Share these videos on your social media accounts. Let these get out to people and spread the word about the Deck Network, because we're here and we're doing it with steel this time around, guys. I want to thank you for another great episode, Mike.
Yeah, this is good again. Our decks. We want the decks in 2013 to be built safely.
Let's do it right.
A safe deck starts with good footings, strong frame, high quality products, proper building techniques.
And the Deck Network, that's where it really starts, is here with the Deck Network, because we're going to walk you through every phase.
And as we always say, check with your local building official before you embark on any of these, because certain towns, villages, counties, they will have variations in their own little codes for some reason. Now in New York City, we're right outside of New York City. We're a stone's throw from
suburban market right out there.
They require a 42-inch railing no matter what the height of this deck is. Now we look at it, why would anybody need a 42-inch railing? But residential applications, where we are, is 36. So it's always going to change a little depending upon the building code or the inspector and what they're looking at, because anytime a deck falls down, things happen. And as we know, we had a big storm here last fall, and we see this, and when we had Katrina and all the other different storms, Andrew in Florida for that
Hurricane Gloria back in the 80s.
Yes. When
I'm dating myself a little bit.
fall, the houses get taken down by hurricanes, insurance companies, they want to cut their losses. They say, let's make these houses, decks stronger. So you're going to see a lot more code enforcement with stricter codes being used. So Matt, that pretty much wraps up our video here on the Trex Elevations Steel Framing. Again, it's a great product. I would not hesitate. I would always use it on a deck. Of course, I did it on my deck.
It starts with example. It starts right here at the Deck Network Studios. If he's using steel on some of these applications, you should probably be too. Okay. This guy knows what he's talking about. Me, not so much, but we'll learn it as we go.
And we have fun doing it.
Yeah, that's it, man.
All right, folks. That's it for today.
Ciao for now.
Have a good day.